12th standard NCERT book for CBSE students. They always face the challenge in economics area, macroeconomics. Today I will discuss a very important issue from fiscal sector, or you can say fiscal policy or budget policy of the government of India. What is the meaning of fiscal policy or budget policy? What kinds of different budget implement by different states or government in different part of the world as well as in India. You know, students, fiscal policy or budget policy, if you define what is the fiscal policy, second I will discuss different types of budget deficit or different type of budget. Today my topic is very clear. First I will discuss the meaning of fiscal policy or budget policy. Second I will discuss different types of budgets. First, you know what is the meaning of fiscal policy or budget policy. When we define the fiscal policy or budget policy, government expenditure and income policy, commonly known as budget policy or fiscal policy. What you will see, government expenditure and income policy is known as fiscal policy. As you know, government expenditure and income, if you classify these two words, expenditure on different development, non-development, because since 2018-19 budget, government of India discontinue the classification of plan and non-plan expenditure, but the expenditure on development and non-development is continue, development and non-development is continue. Or basically if I say expenditure on agriculture, industry, service sector, trade, etc. is known as development expenditure. Expenditure on defense, interest payment, subsidy are known as non-development expenditure. Now you are clear about the concept of expenditure. Social welfare expenditure is there. There are so many kinds of expenditure done by the government under the budget, and this was declared every financial year in February 1st. In case of income, if you think income source of government can define tax and non-tax income, tax as well as non-tax income. Tax income includes the different taxes, direct and indirect taxes. Non-tax income, profit of the PSUs, interest receipts, fine, fee, punishment, all are come under the non-tax revenue receipts of the government of India. Now you are clear about the two concepts, income and expenditure, and the policy collectively known as what? Fiscal policy or budget policy. Now, what is the objective of this fiscal policy? Second issue, you have to be clear if you go through objective of budget policy or fiscal policy at macro level. When we talk objective of macro level, fiscal policy or budget policy, in case of developing economy like India, we have the five main objectives, that is high GDP growth rate. High GDP, gross domestic product growth rate. This is the first target if you say in our economy. Second main objective is price stability. Price stability means price of the product should be stable. There should be no any change in the price, or price fluctuation should not be there. Third main objective, that is full employment. We also like to achieve that all factors of production are fully employed by the mean of our fiscal policy or budget policy. Fourth main objective is balance in balance of payment. Balance in balance of payment. And fifth one is equal distribution of income and wealth. Equal distribution of income and wealth. This is the objective of our fiscal or budget policy. How these target achieved? This is a broader concept I will discuss later, and you can go through in coming days on my app, where you can see all the deep explanation of these objectives under the fiscal policy, as well as I will discuss also the monetary policy. Now, different type of budget. Budget can be categorized in three categories. What they are? One is known as balanced budget. Second is known as deficit budget. And third is known as surplus budget. Surplus budget. What is these kinds of budget? I will discuss in my next lecture. For the next lecture, please wait. I will discuss this in coming my new lecture. You can follow this video if you are liking. If you have any query regarding economics, you can ask me by writing on the chat box so that I can give you your query answer. Thank you, students.